Hey everyone, and welcome to another Pokemon Facts video. Now, I'm a huge fan of Gen 2, and in my opinion, it had some of the best designed Pokemon out of the entire series. Gold and Silver also brought us one of my all-time favorite Pokemon, Tyranitar. This pseudo-legendary always carried my teams no matter what playthrough I used it in, making it a perfect topic for this video. These are some interesting facts you may not have known about Tyranitar. Tyranitar has always been a powerful Pokemon, yet it got even stronger with its own Mega Evolution. It's true, Mega Tyranitar sports some impressive stats, but it's essentially crippled by the strain this Mega Evolution's power has on its body. In a separate Pokedex entry for its Mega Evolution, it's described that Mega Tyranitar has its armored plates on its back literally explode out from the sheer force of this process, after which the only thing that spurs it on is the rage of finding a worthy opponent to test its might. Ouch. Tyranitar is one of only a handful of Pokemon who fall into the category of pseudo-legendary. Legendary Pokemon share a few unique characteristics, such as a lack of gender, inability to breed, and are only encountered once in the main game series in scripted events. This is true of most cases. They're also regarded as generally stronger than other non-legendary Pokemon. Tyranitar as a pseudo-legendary is certainly rare but not impossible to find in the wild, and will have a gender. That alone leaves it out of the legendary category. But its stats are so good that it's left in the company of other great pseudo-legendaries like Dragonite. Adding more uniqueness to Tyranitar's status, it's one of only two non-dragon pseudo-legendary Pokemon, sharing that mantle with Metagross. Tyranitar is unique in the Pokemon world because of its, unique typing, Rock and Dark. While strong in some aspects, it also leads Tyranitar to have the most weaknesses of any Rock or Dark type Pokemon out there. In all, Tyranitar has 7 total weaknesses. Major yikes, but good thing it's a pretty beefy Pokemon. We've talked a lot about how powerful Tyranitar is as a Pokemon and some weaknesses that come with its unique typing, but despite that, the pure stat strength of this Pokemon is undeniable. In fact, it has the highest base stats for attack and defense of all other Dark-type Pokemon, and is tied for the highest among Rock with the mythical Deontay, so Tyranitar counts itself in some pretty good company. Those in charge of categorizing Pokemon in Gen 2 must have gotten a little bit lazy because, while these categories are meant to be separate and unique families of Pokemon, Tyranitar actually shares one with another unrelated Pokemon from Gold and Silver. Tyranitar and Donphan are both known as the Armor Pokemon. To be fair, this is for pretty obvious reasons in each of these Pokemon. They both sport pretty impressive defensive stats and aesthetically are solid and plated. Still, someone must have gotten just a tad lazy when trying to think of another word for armor when categorizing these Pokemon. Of course, this isn't isolated to just Tyranitar. Other Pokemon later on would also share categories with earlier entries. But even in Gen 2, this wasn't unique. Take Entei for example, the Volcano Pokemon. Well, guess who else is a Volcano Pokemon? Quilava and Typhlosion both. Yep, the Gen's fire starter. So it definitely sucks to share a category, Tyranitar, but you're not alone. It's pretty plain and obvious that Tyranitar is designed after a dinosaur, mostly resembling a Tyrannosaurus rex, hence the name, Tyranitar. It also resembles more fantastical beasts like Godzilla, but still it falls within that design wheelhouse. Yet it shares more than just a thematrical design with another dinosaur Pokemon, Aerodactyl. These prehistoric looking Pokemon are the only ones to learn both Hyper Beam and Giga Impact, two powerful moves through leveling up. Sure, there are other methods Pokemon could learn these moves, but learning them naturally really speaks to the strength of these Pokemon. Though clearly designed after a dinosaur, or at least something scaly in nature, Tyranitar comes from an interesting line of Pokemon that suggests it's actually more related to a bug than anything else. You see, its first stage of evolution is named Larvitar, while its second stage is Pupitar. See where I'm going with this? Its first stage represents the larva stage of an insect, while it then encases itself in a pupal stage to undergo its final transformation. But rather than a beautiful butterfly, we get a mountain-shaking destructive Tyrannosaurus Rex that is Tyranitar. But you can see why some think this could be a secret bug-type Pokemon. Its stages looks more like Beedrills than you would expect. There are a lot of interesting and unique factors that make Tyranitar a special Pokemon, but I'll go even further, as Tyranitar is probably in there for my top 5 favorite Pokemon of all time. So with our last fact of this video, let me explain the real reason why so many people love this Pokemon. Why do I personally gush so hard over Tyranitar? Why do I love its design so much as a Gen 2 Pokemon? Well, maybe it's because it's a freaking dark-type dinosaur and I was an edgy and over-emotional 12-year-old, so I really saw a lot of myself in this Pokemon, okay? And while that was a factor, sadly, there was something more. Tyranitar was the first Pokemon who ever made me work for it. You had to slave over this Pokemon before it gave you the reward. A huge payoff for all that training and grinding. The prize, of course, was Tyranitar itself, but the trial, well, that came in leveling it. In Gold and Silver, its first stage can only be captured inside of Mount Silver, near the end of the Johto region of the game. Typically, wild Pokemon here range in levels from 40 to 50, but little Larvitar pops up only at most 5 to 9% of the time, and only at levels 15 to 20. See the issue? If you wanted a Tyranitar on your team, and you were this late into the region, you were going to need to double back and do some serious grinding. It took a lot to level up little Larvitar, who doesn't even evolve until level 30. And let me assure you, level 30 is really late for a first stage evolution. But even as Pupitar, the training doesn't get much easier, and you have another 25 levels left to grind out before you get to that all-desired prize. This was some intense leveling, but at least when you reach the 40s, you're back on track to where you can train in the game. Still, that's 15 levels left until Tyranitar. Yet all that grinding, waiting till the cusps of the Elite Four and then going back to work for such an amazing Pokemon is what added to that experience. An experience that made Tyranitar much more than just a snap OP legendary that would crush anything and only required that you actually capture it. Putting that work in and receiving that awesome Pokemon as a result is why I love Tyranitar's design as much as I do. And there you guys have it, just some fun, interesting facts that add a little bit of unique flair to an already popular Gen 2 Pokemon. Let me know if you're a fan of Tyranitar in the comment section below, and follow that up by including suggestions for the next video. Of course, if you enjoyed the video, help the channel by throwing it a like and subscribing so you never miss out on a new video. As always guys, thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, see ya!